The Vocal Studio. The Vocal Studio. The Vocal Studio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Find Your Inner Voice podcast by the Vocal Studio Singapore. I'm Hannah, director and lead vocal coach at TVS, and today's episode is quite special to me. We're going to explore something beyond singing technique, yet something deeply connected to it. Because when we talk about voice, we don't just talk about sound. We talk about relaxation and support, awareness, flow of breath, and connecting with our body. And that's why I'm really happy to be joined by someone who has been part of my own journey in reconnecting with my body, my Tai Chi teacher, Lauryn. Let me give a little introduction about Lauryn. Lauryn is the founder of P Quotient, where she offers Tai Chi, mindfulness practices, and workshops for individuals as well as organizations, supporting people in reconnecting with themselves through movement and awareness. Lauryn is also a positive psychology practitioner and 13th generation descendant of Wudang Zhao Bao Tai Chi. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Well done.
Yeah, and personally, Tai Chi has been quite a grounding experience for me. In voice training and coaching, we often talk about the breath, posture, release. And through Tai Chi, I began to understand and experience these ideas in much deeper and quieter way too. So today we're going to explore how Tai Chi builds awareness of the body, how that connects to the voice and singing, some takeaways for the singers, and how all of this relates to finding our inner voice. So, hi Lauryn, I'm really happy to have you here.
Hi, Hannah. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And you look very pretty. I love it, the outfit. So, to start us off, could you share a little bit about your journey? What drew you to Tai Chi and how it became such a central part of your work?
I would say that it's actually my own journey. I was in corporate and 20 plus years, in fact, but I went through a lot of anxiety in my last few years. And it was actually mindfulness, aka meditation, that got me out of this anxiety. At the end, I realized that it's about reconnecting to yourself. Because by going through ourselves, then we will know what we need, what we do not need. And since then, I wanted to at first be a meditation teacher, but I realized that not everybody wants to meditate because, it's hard to have too much voice in your head or fall asleep because we're too tired. And through my exploration, I stumbled upon Tai Chi because you were saying that Tai Chi is meditation with movement. And when I tried it, yes, I got hooked because it's even more incredible than meditation because it's fully embodied. It involves your body, even more as well. And then since then, I wanted to teach Tai Chi and mindfulness to help more people to reconnect to themselves, be it kids, working adults, or, because of Tai Chi, even seniors.
Thank you so much. So I'm also very curious because before learning with you, I didn't realize that there are many different forms in this Tai Chi, right? And I am very fortunate to have met you because I really see the true beauty of what you have been speaking about, right? The embodied practice of really connecting with yourself. Even the meditation, maybe some people find it very difficult because they see it as a very mental focus, strenuous, intense activity for people to like really force themselves into like sitting still or standing still position. But I think through the Tai Chi, I really appreciated the style that I was doing that was allowing me to understand the flow, staying in the flow and then coming into the connection with that subtle but very important presence of your body and then feeling that flow and then also chi. I guess I'm starting to understand a little bit too. So yes, then I was curious to know what are the differences of this style of Tai Chi compared to some other styles that are available or that people are more or less aware of?
Okay, I think the popular styles of Tai Chi would be like the Yang, the Chen. But basically, actually, if you look at all the different Tai Chis, you can split it into 3 levels or 3 types of Tai Chi. So the first Tai Chi we will call Tai Chi exercise. So it still works out your body in terms of your muscles. We talk about like strength. We talk about flexibility. So it's still external. It still can be seen. Second is actually what we call performance. So Tai Chi you can see in competitions or when they do a fair with big flourish, big movements and all that. So that's performance where they had to be precise. But there's a third Tai Chi which we call internal martial arts, and that's what true Tai Chi is. It's linked to actually harnessing what's your inside, which is we talk about Qi, we talk about Shen, which is like a kind of like a mind, and also your Jing, which is like a force, the natural internal force within you. So it's about mastering and harnessing this.
Wow. It's really like, I mean, I am kind of relating my background knowledge around these things because as I'm learning it, I also don't know much of, these things. So I guess, how many people talk about yoga, but then there are so many different versions of the yoga also. And then even Taekwondo, because I come from Korea, right? The Taekwondo that I learned, there is a part that is really focusing on the presentation of it. And then at the same time, we have some like, doing actual sparring or breaking other things.
Mechanical movements.
Yes, but inner martial art, I guess, for the Tai Chi is really understanding what is happening within yourself.
Yes, and actually harnessing what's within yourself, the inner power.
I see.
And by doing that, you actually need to be connected in terms of mind, body, heart, and through your breath, to be what you call holistically connected.
I see.
And that's why I see that there's even more immersive practice, if you compare to meditation. Because in the end, a lot of people can say to do it because we are stuck in our minds, right? And a lot of us, we are stuck in our minds. So how do we get out of it? And Tai Chi, because there is movements, so it's really like, you adding this part where you would move in a more meditative or mindful state.
I
Yes.
see. And I guess even though it is harnessing of the inner part, once you really master it, I guess the outcome of it or maybe the effect of it can be shown or transferred to the different forms of practice. Does it relate? So maybe if I rephrase my question, so the ones that we are doing in our first Tai Chi practice, does that have the connections to like a actual application of this Tai Chi into the martial art form, kind of context?
Yes, definitely. So what we practice, right now they're practicing is what we call, is the basic form, but then it has 3 Shen, San Shen. What is San Shen? Which is, there's Yang Shen, Jian Shen, Fang Shen. Okay, I'll translate. So it's, you and cultivate your health, enhance your health, and then it's also self-defense. So it's a 3-in-1, so to speak. So when what you are learning, you're actually clearing up all your like aches and pains and all that, but at the same time it's also building your health, making it even stronger. But the ultimate is actually, it also becomes like a self-defense.
I see. Wow, fascinating. Yeah, I'll remember that next time in Chinese.
Yes, I know that you like to enjoy to do the martial arts movements. I see that a lot.
We do, yes. After we finish some of the real inner cultivation and then mindfulness practice and the movement, yes, we use the next the last component to really do the hand work. Is it?
Yes, the pushing, we call it the pushing hands.
Pushing hands work.
Yes.
And try to embrace it. But I really see the beauty of it because it allows me to really embody the groundness. Right, the groundedness and the centeredness,
Yes.
which are the really core theme of what I guess I'm trying to digest and learn in
Yes.
Tai Chi. And once that is done, the rest of the body and your mental state comes to be in a very receptive and relaxed state. And that is very, very important concept. I guess for even the defensiveness practice that we do, people do think protecting of ourselves and being defensive means you have to really, bulk up your muscles and then stay angry all the time.
Yes.
And then everything like,
Yes.
and like a rock. But I learned new ways of staying relaxed and allowing things to flow towards me, and I just divert that direction. So
Correct.
without, answering to the aggression with the aggression, Tai Chi really allows me to release attention and it's a very graceful art. I love it for that reason. That really allows people to hone this idea of grounding, protecting yourself, defending, but with a very loving and strong kind of attitude, I guess.
You're totally right on centeredness. So I think that's a very important part. And that's where, it started my journey too, right? So it's about being connected to yourself, to your inner self, and listening to yourself. And then being open to, everything around you, and then learning how to flow. So like you said, totally right, because the Tai Chi, we talk about 4 ounces can overcome 1,000 pounds. So how can you do that? Tai Chi is like so soft, so flowy, right? But it's precisely that, because by doing that, you'll be able to learn how to flow. It's like the water, meeting the boulder, but instead of, hitting it head on, learns how to flow around the boulder. So it's the same thing, the same concept. And how to do that is to be relaxed. So centered, relaxed. And that's something that we speak of it so frivolously, but actually it's not that easy. How to build it into our body, totally from top to bottom. So it's not just say, oh, I'm relaxed, that's it. But maybe my mind's not relaxed, my heart's not relaxed. But there's certain part of our body is not relaxed. So how to really relax totally, holistically.
Lovely. There's 2 concepts of centeredness and then the idea of applying the relaxation in multiple levels, not just part of the body, but your mind and the inner organs even, I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Just let it hang out, yes.
And in singing, the flow is explained in many different concepts and then also taught. And one of the very important drive or maybe component in singing that is teaching the flow, right? Staying in the flow is a breath. So feeling how the breath flows into your body, right? And then letting it out with a good support, and then letting that just resonate, our vocal system and also your body, and then resonate with the space is something that is very important. Is there any connection in Tai Chi in, the way it addresses the breath and breathing?
I could, from what you described to me, I could see that there are similarities. At the end, it's about like allowing it in and then flowing it out naturally, not in a kind of forced way, right? So it's the same for Tai Chi. So it's just letting it, letting the breath flow through you and then flowing the movements through the breath. So one thing that we talk about is also not to use muscles, right? Which is something I know a lot of, we had long conversations around that, right? Like not using muscles. How can we not move without muscles? But in the end, it's actually possible. And how to do that is that to be fully relaxed. And because our body is, there's a skin that covers our muscles and that's actually like a very flexible system. So by being like, fully embodied and connected and relaxed, disengaging our muscles, we allow a different kind of energy or force to come to us. And in the end, I say it's about being aligned with our body, working with our natural state. So I think one big thing we talk about is also about form, right? So not to be so fixated to be in a certain form, because the form is just there to help us, to so-called cultivate what's inside. It's not something that we have to adhere to very strictly. And so that's one thing I see as a very important part of what true Tai Chi practice is.
I see. This idea of, allowing the breath to come in and then also relax the body, right? Relax it and relax it more. Where is it not really relaxed? And that, using that for the movement. So, I do practice it, multiple different kinds of, I guess, maybe mindfulness, and also the breathing and the singing, especially because of today's podcast. What I do notice in the singers, when we try to teach the deeper breathing, right? Not the shallow ones that are very on the chest and then shoulder level, the ones that really reach the maybe I would say the bottom, where the diaphragm really allows, the stretching, right, to its full extent. when I do teach it, then I notice that students, out of the eagerness, and I always appreciate it, and I don't want to discourage them to really hold that passion and an eagerness. But then when the eagerness comes and they actually tense up their body so that they can force that breathing. So it's, how do I do this? How do I, deep breathe, do the deeper breathing? And then it's, even though they might understand it through the head, the body is not allowing them to loosen the system. And I guess having enough space for people to really just come to a place of emotional calmness and relaxation is quite important for them to then finally get to be a little more aware of their existing tension in the muscles.
Yes.
Because I guess some of these things, they have difficulty also even becoming aware of and noticing, right? Some of the tensions, because we always live with this, and then it becomes
Yes.
part of our posture. So
Yes.
even though maybe you will notice that in the people, right? Even though they are trying very hard, actually part of their body is still very, very tense, right?
Yes.
And then I think what is really helpful is for the Tai Chi practice, we do start off with about very good, at least I think 10 minutes of meditation, standing, coming to awareness of their body, giving the space for the physical systems to start breathing and slowing down, and then they realize a little bit of the tension they need to let go of. Right, and because me in singing lesson, we focus on production of the voice, right? So sometimes it's quite difficult for us to just sit with our student to just do the breathing and relaxation exercise for 15 minutes, because then they'll be like, hey, I came to sing, and then why are you not letting me sing, right? So then I would want them to come to the Tai Chi classes where they can just immerse fully into that. And I think this practice, people who really do that thrive also in their singing too.
That's actually, I think you hit so many good points. I totally agree on that. One big thing that when I hear you, it's, which I think is aligned, is in terms of effortless action. So one big thing for Tai Chi is also linked to the Tao philosophy, is the Tao Te Ching. So one thing that the Tao Te Ching is very popular in the philosophy is we call it Wu Wei, which is effortless action. So how to create action without any effort, and which is actually precisely it. Because if we are so hung up of creating the action, we will not create it. But as we just let go and just relax, it will just come as the best way. And I think that would be the same thing like in singing, and the same for Tai Chi. Is the more we want to force a certain movement or want to be in a certain shape, the more we can gauge our mind, our body is not relaxed, fully relaxed. Second, I would hear you earlier when you said is about what's that one? What did you say just now?
About the chronic unconscious existing, living with the tension in the body.
Living with tension in the body.
Yeah. That was not it.
Yeah, that's not it. Wait, I'll come to that.
Well, it's okay. Like later we can just rewatch the podcast and then
Maybe I'm too
revisit.
tense. That's why it's not coming to me. I need to go with the effortless action as well.
It's a lifetime practice, I guess, right? The lifetime practice for us to really to understand what it means for us to stay connected with ourselves and come to the point of relaxation and understanding ourselves. I don't think it's like you reach a point of mastery in Tai Chi or even in singing, then that's the end, then you are for good. It's every day re-listening to the body and then reliving and relearning and reconnecting.
Okay, now I got it. See, that's the part. We shouldn't be re-tensed. Okay, so when you shared just now about going right now into singing, instead of the whatever the coming motion practice that needs to be done, and that's something I think I see that as a lot of like conflict around it or debates around, because all of us will feel that I'm not doing anything, and you'll feel bad when doing anything. But one thing about Tai Chi also, we talk about the yin and yang. It's not a religion. Yin and yang is really about, where every part, there's always a counterbalance. So all of us, in society, we are so hung up with going fast, 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 fast. Do. But we miss out that we need to sometimes not be slow and not do, just be. Because then you have the balance. Because if we are only hung up on one part, we would feel unbalanced. And I think it's the same for singing.
Yeah.
And by being balanced, by being calm, centered, that actually makes the singing better than being like, "Oh, I must learn how to sing right away." And it's the same for Tai Chi, right? We don't go in and just do the movements. We centered ourselves, we make sure we are calm first, we prepared. Then, when the action is need to do action, then we do the action.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You need to have both parts.
Very lovely. Yes, definitely very, very important point. And also, I think my reflections around it is that, this society, when it comes to the practice, because we're talking about the practice of this, the martial art or Tai Chi and our singing, people have this notion believing practice makes perfect. That is first. Second, people believe in practice makes progress, right? Then we do question it sometimes because people come, hey, well, what can I perfect? What should I perfect? Or second, if I practice, what is a progress that I can make? And sometimes progress doesn't mean it is a linear, consistent, a gradual movement of one thread of a stretching of the one thread of the things, because some transformations are made in a most unexpected but very powerful way. And I guess that is something that I can really emphasize and also appreciate in the practice of the Tai Chi. I guess things don't make sense in a very progressive, linear, fashioned way, and that's why it is very important for us to stay in the flow, right? And also it has to come from a place of a trust as well. And then one day there is fundamental switch, I guess, that is allowing us to gain a new level of, physical state, or it can be a mental state that is...
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think the thing about non-linear, like, we talk about it, right? Like, fast is slow and slow is fast. And so a lot of us, maybe because we are so honed by society, we always wanted to learn more and more and more. And we think that the more we learn, the better we get. But Tai Chi would throw everything out the door. They would tell you to learn only one and focus on that and hone that. That may not be the thing that you learn. To be what you're learning is something beyond that.
Yeah.
So that is something that a lot of us in the working world, or what the environment has kind of honed us to be, could understand. But then the trust is very important. So when you trust and then we're doing it, suddenly something just happened, and then you find that you have unlocked maybe a different level.
Very lovely. Yeah, thank you. Well, okay. Let me just ask you maybe one more question. And there are so many, but then I guess we need another episode for this to go. Or they can join our Tai Chi sessions, because we have our weekly Tai Chi sessions at the moment on Saturdays, right? Happening around the yards, and it's just very beautiful and peaceful environment that allows that immersive practice with the good people and good teacher.
And wonderful people too. Yeah, wonderful students.
Exactly. Yes, I wanted to speak a little bit more about Tai Chi practice for the relaxation and mental health. And also, this is a point where we can briefly mention the upcoming workshop. So it's something about really regulating your nervous system, and also really achieving realistic and practical state of relaxation. As you mentioned, the society, the structure that we're living in really makes it difficult for us to switch off and then go into the mode of just immersing and then relaxing. But I'd love to touch a little bit on how some simple techniques or the learnings from the Tai Chi can help us to overcome this anxiety or tension, and how can that look like when they try to relax, maybe it can be during the daytime, but I guess in the nighttime when they try to wind down, right? Yeah, how does Tai Chi really allow the regulation and relaxation point of our life and the well-being?
I think one important part for Tai Chi you realized is Tai Chi, we are trying to get from state to trait. So we could be practicing Tai Chi, say 1 hour a day or so, right? During that Tai Chi practice. But doesn't mean that that's the only time when you relax. Because in the end, what you are honing is your system, through your breath, through your movements, through your centeredness, through your relaxation. And that the wonderful thing is beyond that 1 hour, that will actually overflow into the other parts of your life. And that would actually help with many things, including sleep, being calm, whatever that comes to you, so they become, more clear in the decision making. But I think one thing that we talk a lot, right, and we realize that how we are similar in terms of understanding or working with the naturalness of our body, and understanding how to regulate our nervous system. And sleep is a very important part, especially for all of us, right? And because we need sleep to rest, to recuperate. But if our sleep is not quality sleep, then we will just add on and it will snowballs and it will hurt the rest of our body. And that's why we're doing this, right, together.
Yes, we are throwing this workshop, very special one, that is specially focused on helping people to sleep better, right? But then I guess sleep is one segment that is a major segment of, what is defining our health. Sleep is a number one affecting factor of general health and immunity, as well as our mental health as well. So it's quite meaningful for us to just work together, introducing this idea of embodied practice, Tai Chi, and then I'll be doing some music-based techniques and methods for music therapy point of view. To really relax down the system. And as you have mentioned, yes, it's really about not just applying for that, the Tai Chi only during the time of the practice. Once you get to connect with the body in such way, the kind of awareness and ability to relax your body and realign it becomes very accessible. And I think you mentioned it as a on-demand, right? And I, guess where I really came to that realization. I was climbing I was doing the hiking, and really reconnecting with the centeredness of my grounding made my hiking so much more easy, like really light, like the lightness, the way I make one step, because it was really heavy staircases, like 1,800 meter, and then heavy staircases. And then, like, if you really tense up your body and force your way up, then what I would always have is a backache, right? Just coming to a good balanced state, making that effortless move, breath initiated, staying in the flow, it really helped my movement. I don't have to explain to my body because my body already understands how I wish to move.
Well done.
Yes, the body listens to the intention of me trying to go effortlessly in a relaxed way, and they are wonderful in making the adjustment, and thanks to the Tai Chi practice.
That's the benefits of Tai Chi.
Exactly. So yes, I think the sleep workshop is what is going to help people to understand this component of it.
Can I just share one tiny little story? That reminds me of the story. I just recently came back from Guangzhou, right? So I was on the plane and, like stuck in the economy seat, so tight plane and, uncomfy seat. And I wanted to try to sleep. And because of my Tai Chi practice, I actually learned there's a certain way like to position your body. And so I position my body and I just relax. But that's how that's how I get myself to sleep now. And I just relax in that position. And I think the flight is maybe about 4 hours or so. I slept almost throughout. And guess what? Not even an egg. How do you have no eggs in economy class? Oh my gosh.
Hey, that is very intriguing. How to sleep so well in the flight, because I'm pretty sure there are thousands of millions of people who just cannot do that. Okay, now I have a new kind of project to work on.
We can practice that during the workshop.
How to achieve the relaxed sleep
in a
even
tight economy seat.
Budget airline.
Without any eggs, yes. No, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not like, exaggerating, because
Yeah.
I'm surprised too. I was
Wow.
just experimenting, and I was
Wow.
like thinking, maybe I should just do that, because I'm really used to sleep kind of in that movement flat on my bed. But I'm like, maybe I should do that on the seat, because I just want to sleep, and I'm so used to it. So when I did that, and then I came out, I'm surprised.
Wow.
I was like, okay, everything's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
usually, when you sleep, you will feel that there's some pull on your leg, right? So you pull your back and all that kind of stuff. But it was fine. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Okay.
That's very, very, like, I'm very curious to try it next time in my flight, if I,
Okay,
in
I'll
the
show
near
you. I'll show
future.
you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing about the wisdoms and also practical tips, and then understanding about the Tai Chi and how to approach, I guess. And I hope that the audience and listeners who are with us helped us to really appreciate it, because I guess for me, I was very new to Tai Chi, so I guess I didn't really have much of a stereotype or bias around Tai Chi. In fact, actually, because I did my mindfulness and meditation training, right? And in healthcare approach, then I already started with understanding basics of how the Tai Chi can help. But then for some people, they might have that ideas and then this concept about, Tai Chi is a old people's boring sports that they do only when they cannot sleep in the morning or they wake up at 6 a.m.
And they're moving slowly because they're old, yes.
I hope it really sheds slightly refreshing view, all right, for them to reconnect with this. So as you know, Find Your Inner Voice is our title, the title of this podcast, and it's the core ethos of the Vocal Studio Singapore as well. And I guess what we are standing for is not really finding the voice only for the sake of the singing voice, because your whole body, your sense of yourself does affect the way people find even the voice that they sing out, right? What is within comes out too. So from your perspective, what does inner voice or find your inner voice mean to you?
It's absolutely the same thing on what I'm doing with Tai Chi and, whatever that I'm doing now. It's reconnecting to yourself. And then because we ourselves, deep down, we know what we want. And by being connected to ourselves and then living to be ourselves, that's the time when we will really be happy and content and what we would say thrive in life. And yes, so be it voice, but in yourself, beyond. And I think when whatever comes out, you're happy because it's fully you, right? Yes.
Thank you so much, Lauryn. So what really stands out is really finding your voice, is trusting, coming to a very grounded trust of yourself, not because you obliviously just believe, I know the best for myself, but then really the wisdom is there. If you know deep down, if you connect, there is a part of you who really knows the best for you, and that voice exists. And through the embodied practices, people can really access that.
Yes.
So I think that was something that was very beautiful. And the body, the breath.
I would say that it's also like a journey, right? So that you're having many layers.
Yes.
So it's not just connect to yourself, but you would see that every time you practice, it's also learning more about yourself. Learning more about where you're carrying your weariness, where's your aches and pains, what's happening in your mind, what's feeling in your heart, and everything that comes to you. So it's really a whole journey about really learning about yourself and reconnecting to yourself in all the deepest layers. And then when we are reconnected, when we are connected to ourselves, then whatever comes up is authentic, it's us, and we're happy. Yeah. And that's most important, right?
That is very, very important. Yes. The congruence, and then how are we living grounded life with the integrity, I guess, in the decisions that we make without being swept by all the noises. They're important, right? What exists outside is important, but it's just too much. And then it's quite difficult for us to come to a balanced state of really understanding where we stand, where we want to stand, where we wish to continue. So this helps us to develop. As you mentioned, it's a journey, right? And I think the journey needs to start so you can continue. And this simple practices, Tai Chi is very accessible from what I see. Just can be a good starting point, or it can be part of your already continuing journey that people have in coming to the connection of their inner voices too.
Yes, yes, definitely.
All right. So yes, thanks everyone for listening. If you are exploring your voice and simply looking to connect with yourself, and if you are not so sure whether you should start from somewhere, right? Then this can be our gentle invitation, and we are providing the space and experience for you to begin that. And if you want to learn more about Lauryn's work with P Quotient, you can refer to her website and then social media also for upcoming classes and workshops. And as I mentioned, especially at the yards, the Tiny Mighty Studio, we sometimes provide the roof when it's raining
So
for
very
the
grateful for that.
yes for
It's
the
a beautiful space here. Yeah.
for the Tai Chi class every Saturday at 5 p.m. at the moment. So you can feel free to contact her and let us know if you have curiosity about Tai Chi and want to just drop by and learn about it. Okay, and we'll share a little more announcement in detail about the upcoming sleep rest workshop. It's a really good one. I hope that we can meet some wonderful people who are also looking to really dive a little bit deeper into creating better understanding and confidence in going to good sleep, right? So yes, look forward to meeting you there. Today's podcast was recorded at the Tanya Mighty Studio. Yeah, this is a space for music, arts, education, well-being, built on the creativity, kindness, and community. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Find Your Inner Voice, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Lauryn.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.